Yo, check the mic, 1, 2, Beacon is the name. Lights up the city, ain't playing no games. Joel Simmons and Michael Seville, the vision is clear. Dropping knowledge,
Are you gonna run
the Beacon, that's the sound of the future. The main hosts are here, they built the whole structure. Community strong, we rise from the ground. The Beacon power up, yeah, time to look up.
He slid in. Safe. Safe.
Man, I thought I had that timing down pat. I didn't. Oh man, that's what I get.
What is going on, people? It's been almost seems like a while. I was like, how do you even start this show again? We missed it last week. We gave you a replay, which was I think was more than enough to.
It was a good replay.
Yeah,
that was a good replay, man. That was a great conversation we had 2 weeks ago.
It was deep, and I think if you watched it the first time and then you rewatch it the second time, you'll get more gems out of it. I know I did listening to it in the background, and it was a super. I'm like, man, this is a super deep conversation. So I think that break and that pause, that break and that pause is needed. When you want to make, you're taught this while you're doing communication and in speech, and someone was talking about it just last night. I was on a call, and a coach was coaching somebody else, and they said, yeah, like you need that pause to allow the other person to digest the thought. And pauses can come in different flavors. It can be in the midst of a speech. It can be in the midst of this 2-week video podcast because of the type of information that's given. And I would almost say that there's pauses that are needed in your life for you just to, it's a presence, right? And Jay-Z spoke about a pregnant pause. And so, yeah, that last 2 weeks, I think it was just right on time. We tried, we attempted to get it together, but it was so perfect. I'm gonna tell you what happened last week, brother, because I was on my way. I was getting ready for the show, and I'm going, and then I get a phone call. It's Elijah. Elijah's like, I missed the bus. Can you come pick me up? Right. This is like at 3:40, 3:45 or so. I'm like, okay, well. It might have been a little bit earlier than that, as a matter of fact. I'm like, okay, well, I can just rush over there and get him. And so I had Paul with me, and I'm like, all right, let me. I had just walked in the door when he made that phone call. So yeah, it had to be around 3:20 or so. And I'm like, all right, I hadn't been in the house for 3 minutes when when he told me that. And so I said, I'm not even gonna bother the brother about it, no nothing, because the school is maybe 15 minutes away. So 15 minutes there, grab them, 15 minutes back. Yeah, a little bit of traffic. And maybe if it's crazy on the way back, I'll hit you on the text and say, I'm not there. And I walked back to the car and I put Paul in his seat. And I said, okay, where's my key at? I just got out the car a second ago. So I go back in the house. Wasn't much for me to go, like, you say retrace your steps. There wasn't much steps for me to go. So I'm looking in the house. I'm like, it's not here. Okay, yeah, Paul did go to the bathroom real quick. Let me go to the bathroom and see if I left it in the bathroom. No, it's not in the bathroom. I'm like, okay, yeah, I did take out some food for Chalky, my dog. So let me go in and check if I put it in the bag with the food. Okay, it's not there. Huh. I walk back out to the car. Paul's just in the car, just like, all right, ready to go. And I'm like, what did I do? No kidding, in 30 minutes. I was like, and I went back in. I said, okay, well, let me get the other key. And the other key, I needed to change the battery in the key, of course, right? And I hate driving with it because I'm like, well, sometimes you'll step out the car and for whatever reason, I don't even know how the mechanism works. Sometimes your car just self-locks. And I don't want to be in a situation where the battery is not working in this key. The car self-locks. I really don't even understand the technology of the car. So I'm like, well, what if it doesn't transmit and I'm in the middle of driving and it shuts off?
Yeah.
So this is like a 30 to 45 minute thing. I'm just like, oh, now we now now it's really being cut close.
Yeah.
So I said, "Okay, you know what? Let me go check where Paul was in the car." I said, let me go check. The key is underneath Paul's seat the entire time. I left it in there when I picked him up originally. I took him out of his car seat. I guess the key must have fell underneath his car seat. And I checked there. I thought I checked around that area, but it was actually underneath him. Right. So he's sitting on the key in the car. So
Gosh.
of course I jump in the car, and the brother's like, "Hey, brother, I got something going on. You want to push this thing back, or do you want to do like 30 minutes?" And I said, I'm texting the back like, whatever you want to do, because I'll make it back. And then I was like, then I think we suggested, one of us made the suggestion about running the replay, and I thought about it, and I said, well, you know what? Instead of me rushing, and absolutely last week, the week before, for the people who are viewing or listening, 2 weeks ago, we had an in-depth conversation. To now, weeks after the conversation, the word that came to mind, what most people use, if I heard it again, I was like, that's kind of around a discussion, but this is a popular word, was awakening. And I was like, that awakening is a super important place, right? And even that morning, I had been thinking about it the entire time, and I needed more time to digest it as well. So we went ahead and put that replay on. I don't really watch a lot of replays. I'm like most people, I don't like the sound of my voice for whatever reason. But
You
this
got a
week,
great voice. I'm enjoying listening to you, man.
I appreciate, and likewise, right? But I think we tend to be our most critical, critics, right? So I analyze everything, just like that, right? I noticed that I'm saying right a lot. I know exactly where I got it from. I know exactly how it came into my conversation. So every time I hear it, it's like a stab wound to the chest, like instead of a pause. I want you all to stay with it. But that conversation of that deep awakening, that the thought process, the conscious level, a lot of the things that we have going on, we need it. We need that, and we need time for it to help integrate, because you get into those type of conversations, and I've realized today that I'm super uncomfortable when I'm not grounded. And really, when I say not grounded, it means not in control. Like, I want to be in control. I need it. The hypervigilance, all this comes, a lot of this stems from me attempting to want control and to manage everything. So when I'm letting things go, it feels, and I don't want to say not grounded. When I let things go, I'm not comfortable with it. So, but this gives us time for me to allow it to be, right? Even after, you heard that right again. I'm gonna get it right, guys. It allowed me to take time, right? I didn't have to rush home. I'm gonna get that right. I said it again. That's the second time. Slow down. Ended up going to grab some food for the boys and just really enjoying that time. Him at this age, Elijah at this age, Paul at the age that he's at, enjoying their interaction, enjoying myself as the father, and being present as we all go along this journey together in life. I could have did it rushing, or what we call rushing. However, the presence of it and that conversation was I don't want to say it started it, but it was a reminder of it. And even taking that time off for last week was a reminder of the pause that we can have, because this community beacon thing that we've been doing, and I've noticed it now, listening to a lot of other people's conversations and thoughts and their podcasts. I'm in a bunch of mindset groups. I'm working among some elite coaches at this moment. And the conversations that we have here on Community Beacon, and then we'll get into this. Less is I got less is move. less is the move. But in my mind, I'm thinking less is more, right? what we do on Community Beacon, the shifts that we make, and we kind of just going back and forth and stumbling on certain things is like, okay, yeah, it helps to kind of get in this alignment path of where we are now, because we're all on a certain path, and we're not far off, is what I notice, regardless of if you're in here or you're there. However, there are times when we kind of are going in, and our boats are getting pushed into certain directions. But the less is more thing, and we've heard it before, and less is the move, rather, is kind of where my thoughts fell upon earlier today. I'm gonna breathe on that one and let my co-host jump in, because I see it percolating a little bit.
Yeah. First, number one, because we came in here excited and just ready to be on the show and jump in the conversation. Y'all, welcome Mr. Michael Palm Beach Mike Seville in the house. Yes. And I'm Joel Simmons. All right, we're glad to be here with you on today for the Less is the Move. And I like that you clarified that, because man, I thought it was less is more, which was a conversation I had already like primed myself ready for. Now less is the move. I hadn't primed myself for that. So that means I'm going to have to just come off of the dome and just pull from whatever I've studied. So before we get into that, and you know how when we start talking, bro, it's just like, man, we can start talking about something that seems like it's over there in left field because we just want to get that thing off our chest, or because that's the idea that's in our mind, and it will drive right into the subject. And sometimes I'm just like, how did that happen? How did it happen? When you started talking about sitting down with your kids and the Community Beacon and being here, like that thing just reverberated inside of my mind. So many times we're rushing, gotta go to do whatever it is. And we miss out on what it is that we do, whatever we do for. That might have gone over somebody's head out there in the world. I don't want it to go over your head. It's like we make up in our mind, I am going to do X because I want Y to see it or to feel it, right? I got to go to work, make all of this money. I got to become a millionaire. Well, why do you need to do that? So that I can spend time with my kids. What do you need to do to spend time with your kids? I need to take them out to a vacation. I need to take them to the Starbucks. I need to be able to sit down with them. I need to be able to walk on the beach with them. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. When was the last time you took them on a vacation? 3 months ago. When was the last time you took them to a Starbucks? 2 nights ago. When was the last time you took them to a beach? 2 weeks ago. When was the last time you sat down and hung out with them? Earlier today. So tell me again, why do you need $1 million? Less is the move. We don't have clarity on what we really want. And so we do things that are anti-movement. We take away from the kids when we say we want to be with the kids. And like this whole thing about this work and everything, about paving ways for certain things, maybe there's not true alignment there. So that breaking that pause, that thing is real. Because, okay, so now let me go ahead and say this. For anyone out there who might be thinking that, Well, Joel is pointing fingers. I really don't do that. I'm not that type of guy. Um, because I just want you to understand, like I fall in that category. And the thing about it is like as soon as I can recognize it, I began to fix it. Because I believe that everybody falls into that category at some point in time, where the thing that they're doing is so important at that very moment that we lose focus on the overarching goals or our true journey. Granted, this may be part of the journey at the time because everything is essentially a part of the journey. If you're alive, you're in the middle of it. That's just the way it is. Recognizing that that's what's happening at any given moment, that you're in the middle of your journey, coming up to breathe, to pause. That pause is so important. Reflect and catching your own self being your own self and asking yourself questions. Is this who I want to be? Is this what I want to do? Am I doing the things that really matter to me? To what end? And so I like the way that you brought that whole conversation in because, Mike, I just feel like that's a lesson that doesn't get old. It doesn't get old, man. It doesn't get old. And it's a reminder to all of us. You may not have meant it as a lesson. It was an explanation and conversation, but it's like that thing was so powerful. I felt like we needed to just stop for a moment and just hear that. It's good that we're high performers, that we can do so many things and get so much stuff done. Why are we doing it? Man, I'm telling you, man, I got like a tear coming to my eye right now.
Let it flow.
Last night, I
Take your
couldn't bring
time.
my son. I couldn't bring my son out with me last night to the O lab. I couldn't bring him out last night. I had all this stuff inside of my seats, and every single seat was full. And I went to him, and he was like, "Yo, what's good, Dad?" And I'm like, "Man, I can't even take you right now. I got all this stuff in the seats, and it's too heavy to put on his lap." He's like, "It's all good. It's all good." And so it was that embrace, that hug, that conversation, that slow down. It wasn't but for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, maybe even a minute and a half. But I slowed my mind down to not thinking about where I was going or what I was doing. And I made those seconds, they lasted for a half hour. It just lasted. It was just like, you said presence, bro. It's just like, it just lasted. All of a sudden, that small minute and a half just like opened up to like an expansion. That's what we talked about 2 weeks ago. It just, an expansion opened up. And before you know it, I almost got goosebumps. Before you know it, it's just like the hug, the embrace, the eye-to-eye contact, the value and the feeling of the love that was just moving in the atmosphere, like everything else around us stopped. The world stood still. And that is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, go ahead, man.
Where do you want me to go? Where do you want me to go with it?
Go ahead now, Mike. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man.
We can end the show right. We can end the show right there. You said one thing that I'm like, yeah, and it was dope because there was a a quote that someone brought up on Tuesday in one of my masterminds, and it was from Socrates. And Socrates said, "An unexamined life is not worth living." Meaning, if you're just going and going and going, and you don't take time to reflect, you don't take time to have things kind of to sit with things. And where I'm at now, become super impartial with things, become vulnerable with emotions and thoughts and people and hey, Kenyatta, what's going on?
What's up, Kenyatta?
You miss out on you ever we talk about FOMO. Fear of missing out. You're missing out if you don't take this time to examine what it is that you have going on. So like in that moment, having that embrace with your son, that might have just stopped the night for me. Like like this after this, like what else is there, right? It's almost like, oh man, it's all downhill from here, having a moment like that. And I get a chance to be in the downhill moments, but I get a chance also to recognize these super important moments that we have with people in general, right? We sometimes tend to say family, friends, whatever, but just people in general. If you take the time to slow down, and I've noticed that I had a knack for this. I can slow down and just have a moment with anything and anybody whenever it fits me. Whenever I become present, and those moments are the most enriched moments. You mentioned having $1 million. There's nothing wrong with the want or desire of it, and you didn't say that either. It's what do you want? You spoke on clarity, and it's like, okay, so it's not really about making $1 million for our kids, so we can get that out of there. I think it's super important for us to be honest with ourselves, coming from a place of honesty. That's not why you want it. Like, what is the reason? Now we can get down to the real nitty gritty of what it's actually about. It could be about validation. It could be about safety. There's a million things. You could have saw someone else and you're comparing to somebody else in that kind of aspect. But now we can at least, now that that's out of the way, what is this $1 million or this number really about? It's funny because you can use that. A lot of people will say that, or oftentimes what I hear in my experience is people just want to double whatever it is that they're making, right? The $1 million is I don't even think people really want it or desire it in that kind of way. It's just a number, oftentimes arbitrary. Most people get, even this doubling number is arbitrary. But then when you sit down there and figure out, which is a lot of these coaches that I've been dealing with recently, super elite coaches, they explain to you like, well, what do you want your lifestyle to be? Let's design that. Design this lifestyle. Design something that brings you joy. That's really the standard that I use in order to measure if I'm being efficient, optimized, or whatever. Like, how much joy is this bringing me? And is it in alignment with whatever it is that you have going on? So you get all those things put together, and then you can figure out, okay, well, this is what it's going to take. I do this with Elijah all the time, to where I'm like, okay, because he'll mention numbers like that, $1 million or whatever it is, and I say, okay, well, let's go through these numbers real quick. Let's figure out how much does this cost, and start to have these get real specific in the numbers, and then we say, and then he's like, oh, well, and I'm like, you're still not even close to $1 million. I think the last time we did it, and I'm telling him to go buck wild. Like, how much do you want to spend on vacation? How much do you, what is your cable bill gonna look like, and your internet, and your apps that you use? If you could just have anything, just go buck wild with it. I think we got up to maybe $20-something thousand, right? And I said, okay, and I always multiply it times 10, because I said, okay, the last two, that's for taxes, is what I tell them. Just real quick. I'm nobody's accountant. Don't use what I'm doing now. Let me preface that, but I always multiply things times 10 to keep it super simple. And so if you're at 20,000, I'm like, okay, so that's 200,000, and that's 10 months of working. Just count the last 2 months as your 40 grand, like something that's going to be towards your taxes, but you got 200 grand, and you essentially have everything that you think in your mind that you want. What's funny about it is that even when you get those things, you're going to realize how much you probably don't want them, right? This certain kind of car, you know, the upkeep, or you don't want to maintain those things. But that's, you know, at this point, let's not even think about the maintenance of it. Let's just think about this. You're getting it new every year kind of deal. You know, lease a car or whatever. So you get to those points and you start to realize, okay, so this number is not even, I don't even know where I got this number. We'll often think about it, and that's kind of where I was going with this less is more. And less is the move. And I'm gonna tell you exactly how I came up with this thought real briefly this morning. This morning, I'm going through my process and I'll transition into it. And I saw Dorian Yates come up on my YouTube feed. And Dorian Yates is like a I think maybe 6-time Mr. Olympia champion. And really what caught me was like, he's like, in the off season, my calories were 65. I had 6,500 calories in the off season. I'm like, 6,500 calories. Like, how much, if I can have 6,500 calories and look a certain kind of way, like I'm going to be super satisfied compared to, you know, my maintenance of, you know, between 2,000 and 2,400 calories. But that's really what caught me in regards to this YouTube short that I was watching with him. And then he was saying how he broke it down. He said, okay, he said, I don't coach and I don't go to the gym in regards to helping people out for the money. He said at this point, he said, because I don't need the money. He said, I do it out of my enjoyment. And he said a lot of people, he's talking about trainers, want to overcomplicate this thing. He said it's super simple. He says you need 1 to 1.5 grams protein per pound of body weight. I'm not going to get into Mike's opinion on it. If you want my opinion on this protein, how many grams of protein, you can DM me later. Or if we get into it at some point in time, we can. But 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per body weight, whatever the body weight it is that you want to weigh. Okay, simple. So if you want to weigh 165 pounds, here's 165 pounds of your body weight. Now, I know Kenyatta was kind of in the background talking, and I'm missing it, Kenyatta. Forgive me, as I'm in my zone, but I do see you commenting. And then he said for fat, and he said that's year round. You don't change that. He said for fat, it's 0.3 to 0.7 grams of fat per body weight. Year round, you don't change it. Meaning that when you find out which one it is, either it's 1 or 1.5, what you're using, or it's 0.3 to 0.7 grams of body weight per gram for fat, that's year round. You don't change that. He said the only thing that you manipulate is going to be the carbs. He said, because the carbs is just energy. So depending on whether you want to bulk up, you raise your carbs. If you want to cut, meaning lose weight, you lower the carbs. He's like, it's just that simple. It's just that simple. And there's a little bit more to it, and I'll get to that layer, but this layer 1 is probably the easiest leverage, or the simplest. Let me not say easiest. It's the simplest thing in regards to leveraging the way that you want your body to look. Are those 3 things. You can, anybody, right? Anyone can figure out what they are putting into your body, right? What you are eating, what you are putting in your mouth. Anybody can do that. Super simple. Now, it probably gets difficult when you understand, when everything that was taught to you was different, right? And I want you all to be able to understand you can take this into a bunch of different domains. Because if you tell somebody that these are the macros, and then you show them the macros, probably like me when I first found out about macros, maybe 15 to 20 years ago, it becomes a shocker, because going to Chick-fil-A will really disappoint you. And if you were thinking that if you thought Chick-fil-A was healthy in any kind of way,
oh man, not even the grilled chicken sandwich, bro. Come on, man.
You can have the grilled chicken, but we're gonna look at the bread, depending on what.
Oh no, that is.
right?
It
So,
is.
so depending on what your goal is and where you are, so this is where it kind of goes into different directions. Depending on what your goal is, which most people, right, 70% of our people are obese. So we're gonna say most of us need to lose some weight. It is what it is. So we know that we probably need to be cutting, so we need to pay attention to carbs. Chick-fil-A is gonna put, I've noticed that they put it right there. Now when you go on the menu screen, and this just started happening 15, 20 years ago when I started going. Now every uh restaurant has it. You put it on the menu screen, you see how many this is, and you know what your maintenance calories is. This is the simplest thing. Like I think each gram of carbs is, I want to say 9, it might be 9 grams of calories or something, because carbs is energy, right? Each gram of fat is like no, I think each gram of fat actually is 9 grams of calories. Each gram of carbs is like 4 grams of calories. Like it's super simple. So if you figure out what your maintenance calories is going to be, for me, I'm 200 pounds, 200 plus pounds. So my maintenance calories is going to be somewhere between 21 and 2400. I'm pretty active. I also understand how to lift weights, and I've been doing it for a while. So, your maintenance calories may be smaller than that, but you can kind of figure it out, and you can have your macros based on that. Super simple. And the only thing that you're manipulating is one thing. This is the carb section of it. Like, these are your carbs, and you have the ability to, most of us anyways, have the ability to know what we are putting into our bodies. This is your choice. If I want coaches to understand this too. Like when you are looking at a prospect who's coming to you, and let's say you're a coach and you're attempting to transform somebody, and this could be a coach, it could be whatever it is. When you break it down into the simplest terms, look at the way that these people's faces look, and you can kind of see, okay, this is the kind of person that's probably going to be receptive to what I got going on. This is real estate as well. Looking at my clients, real estate. I'm in the book that my coach wrote is called "Real Estate is Not Rocket Science." It's not rocket science. So when I explain these things to you, whatever it is, as a client or understanding, I get a clear understanding of where exactly it is that you are within the process emotionally. That's probably what's going to make it most difficult for you, is emotionally. I want you to get a word in. Otherwise, brother, what's your thoughts on or some mistakes you see people make, or anything in regards to this?
And I'm gonna tell you something. For me, that's super high level right there. That's super high level. I've never dove in deep enough to the workout regime or regimen. And so I like this. I wrote it down. 9 grams of calories is 1 gram of fat. 4 grams of calories is 1 gram of carbs. So it's important to me, especially right now, because I don't know if I told you, but every single morning, Monday through Friday, and I use this term as far as when I say every, I mean every morning that my mother or I are not called away to do something very specific, right? Like a meeting or something very specific. Every morning we go and work out at Planet Fitness. And so very proud of my mother. We've been doing this for about 8 weeks now. And I was really proud of her today. I'm going to share with you something. Because I thought this was amazing, right? So she sent me the message this morning, like 6:52. Good morning, coach. I'm sitting on my bike, getting ready to ride. I have an early meeting with so and so and must finish and mail my such and such report overnight. See you soon. I would love to see the old lab this evening or tonight. See you soon, smiley face. My response, great morning, Mom. Sounds great, champ. I'll talk with you later. Have a great bike ride and knock them out of the box in the meeting. Love you. Smiley face with emojis. All right. Around 8:58, I send her this. Or 9:36, I send her this. Just finished my workout. Today we become accountability partners. And she sends me this. Awesome. I rode 2 miles and worked my arms with light weights. And after that, yo, I had to I had to do a voice message. I couldn't type what I was about to type. You understand what I'm saying? I could not type it because when my mother first started, bro, what we did was is we got on that treadmill and she was running at 0.8. She was taking these little small steps. Not even real steps. Not even real steps. And, you know, I was just being very encouraging to her and everything. And I told her, I was like, listen, it's not about the workout right now. It's about just developing the mindset that keeps you coming back. Too many times you'll get with a coach and they'll run you so hard because of, you know, like, oh, I just want to see what you can handle. I still need to check this out. And then next thing you know, you're either pushing a lot of weights or you're stretching your endurance or your stamina, right? And people go home, whole body, everything is in pain, and the first thing they say is, "I'm never coming back. Not coming back." And for me, it's like, "No, mom, we're not doing that. I want you to understand that. You just need to get on the machine, and we're going to do this little thing over here, and that's it. There's nothing else to it." We did that for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then we increased. I'm gonna tell you right now, my mother's at 2.5 on the treadmill. 2.5, right? She's starting the weights that she's lifting. She's doing a press. She's doing a seated leg press at like 80. Like, this was impressive, you know? And she's had some days where her body's in pain, right? She's had some days because it's been 8 weeks. We progressively moved into the space where we're going to start challenging the muscles, right? We progressively moved into it. And so now my point, after I've given you all this information to kind of like sup on, is that the days that she is unable to make it, she's not just sitting there. She had that choice. She just told me I was gonna do the bicycle. That's it. I'm just gonna ride the bike. She decided I'm gonna do bicycle and I'm going to lift weights. That's a mentality, right? That's a mindset that she decided she was gonna push herself a little bit by herself. That's when you're not just going to the gym. That's when you start to live a life of fitness, right? That's when this goes from, hey, I got to go to this place to do whatever, to, hey, I have certain goals that I'm attempting to reach, and it doesn't matter where I am. This is now my new life. That's where I am. And so when you start to talk about something as simple as 9 grams of calories equals 1 gram of fat, 4 grams of calories equals 1 gram of carb, for me, it's like that's gold. I can remember that. Thank you, Mike. I can remember that because when the guy gets in front of me, I'm always trying to remember one doggone thing. And when he keeps on talking so much that I can't figure out which thing I need to remember, it makes me upset. I'm like, hold on, man. Just tell me the one thing one more time. Because I think Kenyatta put it in there, right? 1%. That's what she put.
Yeah.
1%. You know, because all I need is just the one thing so that I can change the one thing. Let me hold the one thing. I'll change the one thing because I want to change. You're not forcing me to do this. And any coach out there that thinks that they are forcing their people to do something, you're not doing a good job coaching. Because the bottom line is they're going to get up and leave eventually. Because if you are forcing them and they feel like they're being forced, when they get tired of being forced, they're going to walk out. Even there was a scripture where Paul was speaking, and I think it was it was either Pontius or Brutus, I can't remember who it was, but he said, Paul, you make me you almost persuade me to be like you, to be a Christian. And he's like, I would that everyone will be persuaded. But hence, like, listen to the words, persuade. That's a great word. That's a great word. And it's like, less is the move. That's the move. Because I am persuaded by this conversation to go and talk with my mother about how many calories is in 1 gram of fat. I'm persuaded. I'm persuaded to mention that. Like, Mom, it's simple. Like, you eat one gram of fat, that's 9 calories. Now look on the machine. How long did it take for you to get rid of 9 calories? Like, that's 1 gram of fat. You had to get on that machine for 20 minutes. You don't like that machine. So you could just go without 1 gram of fat and you don't need 20 minutes on the machine. And it's like, boom, there's a lesson learned. Less is the move. Let's not make this difficult.
Absolutely. I love the simple wins, just like Kenyatta put in that for you and your mother, because this journey we're on, like, we're here. The time is happening anyways. Like, it does, like, so we all get our choices or whatever it is. We get caught up, and I'm going to get to that part a little bit later on, and I'm going to stick with Dorian Yates's that conversation, because I want to keep this super simple. But the time is happening. So over 8 weeks, you start to see the difference, and it probably feels differently. Now we're talking about
yes,
from point something to 2.5. It wasn't that she couldn't do 2.5 originally. Maybe her mind said something different. But now the way that your muscle has a memory, now you're plugging in to this muscle memory that you had when you was however long ago it was, right? Because she probably was doing 2.5. I'm sure at some point in her life when she was a child, a teenager, a young woman, or whatever, whatever age it was, that 2.5 was happening. And then at some point in time, things start to happen. But this is just a simple doing, the things that you have super control over. And to me, 8 weeks, like, that's a super short amount of time. I've been alive 43 years, folks. So 8 weeks. And I'm going to tell you it was even more interesting for you younger people. The longer you stay alive, the shorter this time seems. Like, things just start to move super fast. It's like, it's Friday already? Mm-hmm. Let me take a nap before I jump on Community Weekend with Joel. I didn't know this time was going to come to us this fast.
Yes, sir. Okay. Yes. Talk to me now, bro. Yes. Okay, we in this thing now.
Nap so I can. So when I'm here, I can really take in this stuff, because I need this brain to be rested. Let's go into layer 2. Super simple, guys, because layer 1, that was what you can do, and this is the being, right? And excuse me, that's not the being, that's the doing. This is something so simple you could do. What I am eating. I wouldn't even tell Mom not to have the whatever gram of fat. Just know that you're allowed to have this much gram of fat. If you go over this, right? If you're allowed to have 60 grams of fat because that's what hormonally was good for you. If you go to 69, Mike, you sound like an old man. It's the wisdom. It's the wisdom.
It's that gray hair coming out of the side, Kenyatta. That's all it is. He's not old. He just got gray hair. It makes him talk this way.
I said this is the price of patience and wisdom right here. I was cutting it today, and I said, well, I might let it go for a little bit. But this is the price of wisdom, and I love the price that I paid for it. So that layer 1 is about the doing. Now layer 2 is about the being. What's the being? It's this hormone conversation that we kind of jumped into. The biggest lever for your hormones, and this is why we end up having this, this spare tire, no matter how hard you work, You go in there, you're doing sprints on the bike.
Oh man,
or-
come on, man. Come
You're
on,
doing-
open this door. Hold on,
Come on.
everybody else, stop talking. Come on.
I see you working, right? And I came up with this awareness years ago. Remember, we had this conversation. I said, you know what? I'm at the gym at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. I see some of the same people, 4 whatever time in the morning. I see the same people here. We're not working. I think this goes into all other domains of life. I do not see people not working hard. I see people working as hard as they, whatever it is. So I don't even differentiate. And they come home and they're exhausted because of what was told to us or what was taught, what's in how we're conditioned. Like, oh, you gotta work hard for stuff. I'm not saying don't work hard. I'm not saying that you don't work as much as you can or whatever, but I want us to take a look at it. I want us to, what did I say Socrates said? I want us to examine our life, and I want to say, okay, so how is this moving the needle for me, how I count it, to a place of where I'm enjoying this thing? I'm gonna work regardless. Am I enjoying this thing? And how can I enjoy this thing? So getting back to the analogy of this thing, this is where the hormones come into play. Can't even see it. We can't see it. You gotta go get a blood test done. You gotta get these things figured out, right? Like, but you can't. But I'm gonna tell you what, you can feel it, right? You understand when that cortisol is shooting up, and you up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and you say to your mind, "Well, I might as well just get up now." I don't know if I'm the only one to where I'm just like, you wake up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning with something that probably had weight on you, just let it go. It sounds good, right? I heard a couple of people say like, oh, just let it go. Okay. We've been holding on to something for so long, we don't know how to do it. Same thing
DM me, y'all. I'll help you. Go ahead, Mike.
Same thing with our hormones. Most of us don't know how to make a change into it. So we may go to some extreme measures into doing it. Right. And I always say fasting is probably like the cheat code for most things, but that even you'll run up against some stuff with the fasting stuff. So what's the biggest lever in regards to hormones? Or first of all, let's talk about hormones. Hormones, you're not really going to see a difference. I mean, I'm really affected and to get healthy. It's going to take you real talk. It's going to take, she said, Lord Jesus. I'm just imagining Kenyatta saying it in my mind. Right. So, and Kenyatta alluded to some stuff, brother. You had it up there, which was the nervous system and the circadian rhythm, right? Like some of the stuff that we would do normally. Well, we're not outside all the time because that's a super cheat code, getting in the sun. Us super melanated people, they tell you 10 to 20 minutes, but us super melanated, you better get out there for about 45 minutes to an hour. Going back to what we spoke about at the beginning, that pause. Leave your phone inside the house. Ooh. I told my niece's phone went dead, and I picked her up from school, and we were in line grabbing something to eat. And I said, did you tell your father that we're here? She said, she looked at me and she couldn't even control her face. She said, my phone is dead. I said, man, that hurt you. And she started laughing, and she was like, what are you talking about? I said,
we need another one of these for that. I'm sorry, Kenyatta. I didn't use your word twice.
She said, your phone is dead. I said, even when I say it, I see your eyebrow kind of twitch when I say the phone is dead. Phone dead. Your whole body just start to shake. She's 12 years old. She grew up in this era of phones. I'm gonna tell you what, we're in the same situation. I tell some people, well, just leave your phone here. Or put your phone down for a little bit and watch it. You get to itching. I started to put in my pattern. I'm going to walk to the stop sign and I'm not going to look at my phone. The stop sign is maybe around 700 to 800 feet.
Woo, and that's a long way to go right there for some.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and just the intentionality of just checking for something. Now, but over time I had to be intentional about it. I digress.
That's so good.
Let me see what Kenyatta wrote. People do fixing problems and leave out who they get to be to shift them. Oh boy, Kenyatta, we finna jump into that. I love that you brought that up. We're definitely going to jump into that. So the hormones are some of the easiest things that you can do for your hormones, right? And it's gonna I want you all to understand this is not this quick fix. We that's what we taught. We're told this quick fix. You're gonna make $1 million by tomorrow. I need this 200,000. Well, you have some inputs first, and the inputs over time, unless you're on PEDs or you're doing stuff like that, which I'm not saying don't do it. These things take time. Like when these bodybuilders, they have professionals who are manipulating their hormones. Some people in the gym have people who are manipulating their hormones. We'll get to that part as well. But some of the fixes, some of the healing, we're not fixing, we're healing, is going to be sleep.
We talked about this.
It's as hard and it's as easy and hard and difficult and simple as that. Sleep. Might not see a change, but you got to figure that out. And more so than sleep, rest and sleep, because that's when your body does the most healing. I heard someone say, if you could bottle sleep and put it in a and someone sell it to you, he said it'd be illegal. The repairing of the muscle, Kenyatta brought up the central nervous system, the working with your thyroid and all this stuff. A lot of us are taking a lot of these thyroid medications and so on and so forth. You know, I'm not telling you not to do this, but a lot of these things are healed with sleep. That's the sleep is just like the letting go. You know what I mean? Just let go. Well, just go to sleep. You ever Paul, just go to sleep. He don't. It's like, oh, what do you mean? Just go to sleep. And then I said, okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put on that sleep sounds. I got these sleep sounds he has. He's like, I don't want the sleep sounds.
Oh my gosh, he did brainwash the boy with sleep sounds, y'all.
I put it on for 5 minutes and you look over and everything is just knocked out. He can't stop yawning. Like it's
also behaviorism. Oh God.
Oh yeah, I use them all. I'm not doing this. I don't study this for no reason. Figure out the things that you can do. Some of the things that I do, Kenyatta brought up the central nervous system, the box breathing, that works. I don't know if you all knew. I took I did breath work, certification in that. That helps to calm the nervous system. So the breathing is good. Some certain sounds are good. Really, there's a whole thing that a bunch of people can tell you to do, you know, in regards to getting yourself prepped and ready to sleep, because you need to start to teach your body that. You need to start your mind and your body, and you want to connect it. I'm gonna stop there. I got a couple more. Well, let me finish this and then brother jump in. The stress. You need to you get a chance to figure out some of this stress stuff. What exactly it is, and we have stress in life. So really, I would say is to how do we increase our capacity for life? Because just by living, stress is gonna happen. So how are we increasing our capacity to deal with it? Next thing for your hormones is the training, right? Oh, well, all I got to do is go work out and I got to get busy. No, when the walking, I would say, this is my super opinion. For me, the gym is mostly is more about people than actually the gym, because you can get the same results just by walking and just getting out and about and getting the fresh air and doing stuff. Because oftentimes people ain't working out right anyways. I'm not even going to too much get into that because I don't want people to feel bad about it. But when you go in there and you start banging against it, this is adding stress to you. And we can say, what does Kenyatta say? People know all the things you do, but struggle with doing them and doing them consistently. I think a lot of that, I love that, Kenyatta. And the brother, I want you to kind of speak about it. It speaks to what you spoke about in regards to you get in there, you come in with all these achy bodies. I'm not saying your body is not going to ache when you start to become acclimated to something, especially with muscles that you haven't used in a long time. But I remember my first time I was going into the gym, I thought my arm was about to be torn off after I reintroduced myself into it. So what's your thoughts to that? What Kenyatta wrote, bro? or anything that we've discussed thus far.
Oh man, we going in on it. Kenyatta, gosh, man, I love it when you're in town. I know she's quite the productive individual, but I love it when she shows up from the shows, right? No, man, I definitely agree. People generally know whatever it is that they need to do. If you're looking at it in that perspective, man, I would like to ask her a little bit more about, what's an example? Like throw an example out there. Because like after you said what you said right then, Mike, the first thing that came to my mind is, dealing with these coaches and dealing with these different people, trying to get somebody to understand this is how they do, but they're struggling with it. So I agree with that 100%. I also use that as you use the word litmus earlier. I also use that as like a litmus test when I'm learning something new, if you will, right? Almost like a validation source. I'll use it because I'm struggling to do something and I'm looking for the advisement. I've got this idea of what it should look like, a figure of the thing faintly inside of my mind. And then, when I meet somebody who absolutely knows and uses it well, then at that point in time, I'm able to do a comparison and see where I can make my adjustments. People know what to do to become healthy, but don't do it. Yeah, I do. I agree that there's many people that understand what they should be doing. 100%. Many people understand what they should be doing. I would also say whatever is important to a person, they will give energy to. Yeah, uh, you know, where energy goes, the body will flow. So I agree with you. And I also understand this as well. You mentioned something earlier, and you were um, Kenyatta, and you said, let me go back and see if I can find it. As you talked about uh, almost noticing people fixing. Lord, I thought I heard you say something earlier. I might lose it now. The thought, live by the 1%. I thought you had said something. Oh, that's it right here. You said this earlier. We were told that's the goal. And so, like, okay, here's my thought process in this last thing that you just said when you're talking about, um, I would also say whatever is important to a person, they will give energy to. So sometimes I believe that people, they get this goal inside of their mind and they have it from youth. And because they have it from youth, they want to live up to it. And it's not accurate for them anymore. In some cases, this will cause defeatism inside of their mind. So you can know going, you can know working out or having exercising. Let's use that word. You can know exercising is good for you, but you have this defeatism because you've learned other goals in life that may not be beneficial to an individual, right? Somebody, for instance, I have a client who a person in a very respected individual in their life taught them that it wasn't necessary to take care of taxes, right? So everything was under the table. My client disagreed, but lived in that for quite a long time. And now, and at a certain point in time, they came to this point where they needed to do something that required proof of income, and there wasn't any. And so they didn't know or understand that it was truly important. Like they knew it was the right thing to do, but because of the way that they were brought up and many years of being told to do one thing, they ended up following what they were told until they ran into a wall. and decide to do different. And so I just use that as like maybe an example of how sometimes people, they don't do the right thing and they live in that for a long time. And I think that, people like yourself, Kenyatta, myself, Mike, when we're out here talking with people, I think that sometimes when they talk with us, they realize these things and they have an opportunity to get a new script on life, a new narrative, a chance to make an adjustment if they desire to. I think that's pretty awesome opportunity, right? And so that's what I mean by I agree with what you're saying, and I also have a perspective that I just like to share on that. Let me see what else you wrote in here. And what's your thoughts on that, Mike? I just said a lot.
Yeah, I loved when you said people are doing like whatever it is, and I don't want to use the word right and wrong. However, that's what I got written on my principles, which is, and I get a chance to take a look at it.
Kenyatta said that's it right there. So I guess we're all in agreement. The short answer. She got some more stuff, but I want to hear what you got to say before we go to
Right. So
next
and
thing.
this is the dope thing about having these conversations is that we can go back and keep refining them. But I'm going to use what I have, and it's about you're doing the right thing, right? Or you're looking
Whatever
at,
that means.
yeah. You're going in a place that would be laudable. Hey, I want to make money in regards to your clients. I want to make money, for my family, right? Like or myself and my family. There's nothing wrong. There's anything about that. That's anybody who says that. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And then I don't do the right thing in the wrong way. So meaning that, so if it comes to the taxes part, like, and not paying like it, and however they came up with that ideal or information is just like, we all can be in that spot. I think they said the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I think all of our intentions are good. However, there's times when we're just going about it the wrong way. I think a lot of that is exactly what I'm talking about. You got up and you said, today, I'm going to the gym. Awesome. Or you're going to go work out. I want to become healthy. Awesome. And you go about doing it, and you may not necessarily be doing it in a way that's going to allow you to become consistent to what Kenyatta just mentioned. So yeah, and inconsistency and this entire thing that's why joy for me points that is going to help with my consistency, because I can get into discipline and willpower. Like I can become super militant and rigid. Like that's Mike. That's how Mike was raised. You didn't need to ask me anything. I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning in high school, running the block and running to the court. And you got 100. This is me. This is me. I was my own drill sergeant. Shoot 100 shots. If you miss a shot, run your suicide. And I was doing it without anyone telling me that. That was just the way that I did it, and it wasn't enjoyable. I used to think about when I finally made the team. I made the team freshman year. I used to think like the gym was like was like a concentration camp or something. I hated the smell of it, but it was you got to do it. You got to get to it. What did Kenyatta write? Because she wrote a long.
Yeah. Let's go back because gosh, man, she's super engaging. Having a big reason why you are doing what you are doing and having a lifelong commitment to it, you're hooked. I like that statement.
Yeah, I'm with you, Kenyatta.
I choose to live a healthy lifestyle to show other people what's possible. I want to live a long time. I also want to wake people up to possibilities that they don't realize they have in them. My grit is about keeping my word to myself, and it's about others. Yo, if y'all don't know Kenyatta, I'm gonna tell you something. That right there symbolizes who she is. Who she is. I remember when she dug in deep to business, and she missed the working out at the gym for a period of time. And when she came back, she's like, I'm back. She was doing it for me, not me as a me as a her. And the way that she just framed that conversation, I don't even know if I can quote it right now, but it was absolutely fire. Like she just came back in with the eye of the tiger, you know. And I think that that's really important that we understand that. And when I was talking earlier about my mother, it's like these are the graces that we should be giving to ourselves. Like, how on earth are you telling everybody else that they have grace? You know, it's like be gentle on yourself. Don't do this to yourself. And then we go and we put ourselves in corners and make ourselves to cry and mourning over our own bodies like we're dead when we're alive because we were unable to obtain a specific goal at a certain time and place. And it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. Like, have a little grace for yourself. Maybe if we learn about clarity, going back to that, if we learned about clarity, then we could understand prioritization and we will be able to move effectively and efficiently with great intention towards the things that matter the most to us, especially overarching and then especially in the time that is required. You may come across something that needs to happen based off of some rubric that you don't necessarily have control over within a certain amount of time, like getting an email back. It needs to be delivered by a specific allotted time. If not, then whatever it is that you're sending will not be counted. So you have to look at that. Is it a priority? Do I even care if my email and the information I'm sending is counting like a bid? Do I care that it's there by 11:59 p.m.? Or do I not care? If I care, then that's when I'm like, okay, today it looks like it's going to take me X amount of hours and I can only pick so many things to do. This is what I'm going to do. Now, this may be a really rough example, but I'm just trying to give this example of we make these decisions because we can. If we make the decision, though, it's a lot easier than the decision making us. Sometimes what we end up doing is saying, I got to. And I love Kenyatta said it earlier today in something that she has said. She said, we get to be, I think it was the way she said, people do fixing problems and leave out who they get to be. I love that. The get to, not I got to. So nobody's forcing me to do this. I get to do this. So if I get to do this, then take authority over your own life and choose the path you're going to go, like the old Hardy Boy books. Choose your path. Every path is not going to go down the yellow brick road, right? Doesn't work that way in life. And even the yellow brick road was filled with obstacles, right? It looked beautiful, but them doggone flying monkeys kept on attacking Dorothy. So it's like, we have to understand that there's going to be opportunities and obstacles that arrive inside of our journey, inside of our pathway. When we get the mindset to understand that it's my decision that has effectively brought me to this, then I no longer have to carry the baggage of being upset with myself or somebody else because of what's standing in front of me. Because the reality of it is that I'm standing right exactly where I need to be based off of the decisions I made or I didn't make. And the challenge is getting to the mindset that I'm making the decisions and accepting whatever comes to the point where I make another decision. And I like how to tie this back in to the less is the move, and I pray I'm not losing people with this, but the less is the move is making one decision is a whole lot less than not making many decisions. If we can learn to be clear in one decision, just one, act on it, you can move the needle. And my belief is that I'd rather make one decision that I'm sure about and move forward in it and make that one thing progress than to juggle a whole lot of decisions and not make any at all.
Yeah, this life is happening, people. So, I've never made, well, let me not say I never made. Whenever I realize that it's come up to this one decision, there's something there. And so there's a lot of fear surrounding that thing. And you get a chance to kind of hold whatever it is that you have that you're fearing, because that's the reason why this decision has come into your mind, because you make choices every day. Like you're deciding on things all the time, from the time you get up in the morning to the time that you go to sleep at night. There's a decision, there's a choice that you make of, am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? And then it'll affect you. I think what ends up happening is we give ourselves a little bit, anyways, how I believe it is that we give ourselves a little bit more power than we probably have. We
open that door up, crack it, crack that door.
We believe that it's our, like, because I did this, that happened. I'm gonna tell you something. We don't have as much control as we believe we have, and this is coming from a person who holds a part of me that's super hyper vigilant. I'm gonna explain to you guys, when I step into a room, my mind automatically calculates 1,000 decisions. 1,000 things are happening in my mind. I remember Elon Musk spoke about it. So at some point in time, it catches up because it becomes exhausting. I'm like, and at a high level, like this is not. That's why sometimes I'm having conversations and I'm already past this point, because my mind has already calculated. This is just how I was conditioned growing up. When I realized it, I love it about me. Let's not give anything wrong. I'm a complete shark in things. Like, it's like, how did he even, how's it? And I'm just like, yep. If you've seen the Godfather thing, the pulling of the strings, that's me to the T, right? I got a text message from a old girlfriend, and we were business partners at the time, made a lot of money together. And she said, and I had got into a conversation with somebody else, and she texted me, and I screenshotted it because I thought it was funny. They said, she was like, oh, they think they're controlling what's going on. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh, they don't know you. And I was just like, I don't think so. You know what I mean? Like, because there's no ego to it for me personally in regards to the shark. Real quick, I'm gonna go veer off, and I'm gonna bring this thing and sum this thing real back up.
Yeah,
I've had a call with a lady that is big in investments. I mean, she's a part of this group that I was a part of back in 2017, 2018. Shouts out to everybody in the exchangers. And I called her because I needed some information on something, and we were on the phone, and I'm listening to her. Oh, shouts out to Kenyatta. Peace, man. Love you.
Absolutely.
And
take care of my sister.
And she's an older lady. She's older. Shouts out to her. I'm not gonna say who she is because I don't want. She does a lot of business. And I'm on the phone and I'm listening to her, and I'm like, when it says real recognize real, like sharks recognize sharks. And I'm listening to her and I'm just like, this lady it's not a game. Like how she talks and just the way that she the information and how she goes deeper, and she goes several layers deeper. And like I said, she's not double my age, but she's up there. And the way that she presents, I'm just like, I don't think people understand really what's out here in this world, especially when you jump into the business world. Like the way that we believe these things to be is something totally different. And actually, this kind of leads into this last point that I'm going to make on this conversation. And I titled it "The Instagram Lie." and what you're
Mm.
not being told. And I'm going back to this working out, this getting healthy phase. Number one, genetics. Most of our physiques, like, we don't build them, we're just born with them. So we go into the gym and we see on Instagram people who are working out, or they say they're working out, and oh, I'm doing this kind of exercise, I'm doing that, or whatever the case may be, and this is what it's going to take for you to get here. You're not going to get there. The thing is that they have their genetics, and they have this certain place in time where their genetics is like is aesthetically pleasing. Because a lot of these people who are on Instagram now showing off what it is that they look like, 40, 50 years ago, they would have been looked at, people would have looked down on them. That physique wasn't something that people wanted, right? Just like the bodybuilders of today could not survive in the late 70s with Arnold and Lee Haney and those guys, those big name bodybuilders. The people who are winning now, 2026, they would not win back then, because their physiques, their genetically gifted way of being now, which is pleasing in this sport, would not have been pleased back then. They would have been they wouldn't have made any places. It's two totally different things, even with all the muscles and everything they have. So take into consideration, I shouts out to Chris. Chris had a conversation with me a month or so ago where he said, love who you are.
Yeah, that's good.
Hold yourself how you are. Joe, you spoke about it. Having grace, have grace for yourself. The reason possibly why you're not is you're comparing yourself to something else. So just have grace with where you are currently. Body enhancements. Think about it, all these other domains. People have strategic things that they're doing that you may not be well with who you are, right? Like whether it could be like morally, ethically, whatever it is, like some things that you just don't want to do, like you don't want to take it there. Some people are willing to take it there, right? They're willing to manipulate themselves and use extra help or whatever it is, or beat their body. Like look at David Goggins. Shouts out to him and everything he has going on. But all of the issues that he has physically, because he always has a bunch of physical ailments that he has going on. When you're looking at him and you're saying, he's telling you, oh, you're only going 40%, you could go 60, 80%. Yeah, you could probably go 60, 80% more, but think about what it's going to do to you on the tail end of it. Are you prepared for that type of stuff? Are you in an environment where that can easily be fixed or can be helped? Because nobody wants, look at my guy, Ronnie Coleman, staying with the bodybuilding thing. Ronnie can't walk now, but man, he was a monster. He was a beast. You look at Ronnie Coleman working out back then, and you ask him, and Ronnie can't walk because he had a bunch of spinal things going on. They said, Ronnie, do you have any regrets with what you did? And Ronnie said, man, I love him too. He said, man, I could have got that 800-pound squat 2 more times. If I could have just got 2 more reps on the 800. This is the things
100%
that you
committed.
Yeah, this is what you're dealing with. Do you want that for you? Right. So I tend to look at people who I admire, what they have going on, and especially in their later life. And I say, okay, that's something that I'm totally aligned with. This aligns with me morally, ethically. This is how I want to live my life. If I had a legacy, I want to be similar to that. I love that. I love how they talk, how they express themselves, how they love their family, the relationship with their children at that age. Except, man, hey, right? Shouts out to Jim Wolf. I'm seeing him tomorrow. I love him to death. Called me. I said, Jim, I'm coming down there this weekend. He said, oh man, I ain't seen you in a while, Mike. I said, yeah, I'm coming down to see you and Sue. He said, okay, yeah. Jim called me the next day. I just need to make sure that we're meeting at this. Yeah, absolutely, man. Love you to death. But the way that Jim has his hoes and has his family, he's 89, 90 years old. If you don't know the story, this is my real estate mentor, and I love him to death. I admire the way that he upholds everything, how he's committed to his family, what he does, what he did in the business, his giving, so on and so forth, his business acumen. how much he learns and studies, and he just it's just a beautiful thing. Find somebody like that, you know, that you can sit with. Professional coaching. I've been sitting with this coaching thing for a couple months now. And I've been in real estate for a long time. I've probably been, before real estate, I would say my first coaching probably was with meditation. I loved and enjoyed that. I've had a lot of good ones. No, let me not say that. I've had some good ones, but I've had a lot of bad ones. And the bad ones charge just as much as the good ones. And sometimes the bad one, and what I call, and I don't want to say bad, not effective for me. I learned stuff, but it wasn't quite put together. But I'm not here to say that it's not impactful. I just think that a large majority should not be doing it. But if you find one and they align to you, and they have compassion for you, and they're still pushing you, whatever it is, that's going to change you. And a lot of these people who we see, they have that. When you look at the top bodybuilders, they all have coaches, and they fire their coaches too. So I've seen someone fire their parents, right? Who was coaching them. I see people who fired some big name people. I see some people who came up with a certain amount of people, and they only could get them to a certain point. So they had to deal with somebody else or take them to the next level. These things happen. So pay attention to that. We're seeing this stuff on Instagram. These people have people or people around them. They create an environment, whether it's paid or whatever it is, in order to get themselves pushed in a certain kind of way. And they know when, okay, this is no longer effective for me, and I'm moving. Pay attention to that, right? This is how you get to whatever place it is that you want to go. And I was going back to the Instagram Live. The person who you're talking about might have all three of those, what I just mentioned: the coaching, the enhancements, and the genetics, which is more important to why you should just love on what you have going on. Hold yourself. Find people who you're aligned with. Get in an environment that also cultivates this. And see what happens, and don't be and be excited about it. I'm excited when I don't have to. I probably will at some point, right? I'll get there, but I'm not in a rush to get there. Lifting 405, right? Like whenever I get there is when I get there. But I'm not comparing myself to somebody else. All I saw was him do it. Oh, that's dope. I admire it. Here. As a matter of fact, check this out, guys, because I think I told you in December I worked on shame, right? So with shame, there was jealousy and envy involved into it. Let those guide you to admiration. Open that up. There's nothing wrong with those things. There's nothing wrong because you have them. So the shame is you not admitting that you have this thing going on. Jealousy or envy. It might be a second. It might be a minute. It might be 2 weeks. It might be 3 weeks. It might have lasted for years. Guess what? When you recognize that within yourself and say, okay, man, I might have something a little bit here. Because the emotion's not right or wrong. It's information. Mm-hmm. Use that information. Man, I'm jealous of this person, boy. Why do they? I heard this kid, he's at the gym. He goes in there, he works out with his father. We was having a conversation. I wasn't jealous or envy, but I could see how it could be this way, where he was like, man, I don't eat nothing but carbs. And I'm just like, God. I'm like, man, but it was like good for you. So maybe the jealousy peaked his head. I'm like, okay, that might be jealousy and envy. This kid get to eat carbs and look how he looks. And then it's like admiration. I know I can't do it, but man, that's dope that you could do it. And then what you could do with, if you do have jealousy and envy for somebody, right, whatever it is, look for ways to admire them. Just something small. Because if you keep this and you cover it up with shame, because it's shameful for you to talk about it. Like a lot of people are shamed. Like I can't tell nobody I have jealousy and envy. I'm just let that thing well up inside him, right?
Not a good idea.
I'm gonna let that thing well up inside of me for a little bit till it has to move. Because one thing about jealousy or any of your emotions, it's gonna move, right? So you go on and bury it as much as you want. It's gonna come out some kind of way. But if you if you allow shame to point you in that direction and say, okay, well, this jealousy and envy thing is going on, Now I can use it because now I'm aware of it. What does that feel like in my body? Oh, that's that little thing that you got going on. Because where do we learn it from? Who knows? I'm not even gonna go through that with you. But now I can say, boom, I can find things to admire in this person. There's something about this person that I'm admiring. Otherwise, I wouldn't pay attention to him at all. It's not, because I know for me, it's not just straight hate. Like, I hate him. That's why I'm watching them. I'm watching them because I hate them. No, there's something about this person that's bringing up this jealousy and envy, right? It's possibly a skill that they have. I'm not there yet, or whatever. Who knows how this thing shapes up? But I'm going to use this just like I use fear, right? That's how you can't have courage without fear. So now I use fear to point me in a direction, and the courage, and okay, when things start to get uncomfortable, now it's courage. It's in that spot. And so that is like this lie, that comparison, that jealousy, that envy, the shame possibly that you're feeling, right? Of how, I want to have this six pack or whatever it is because this person has it. Oh, I got to do this stuff in order to get it that he's showing you that he's doing. And you're gonna get hurt, right? You're gonna hurt yourself. So pay attention to this. I call it the Instagram lie, but really what it's leading to is looking at this person and you're admiring them on a point of it, even if I hate their voice, but there's something about it, because you would have just blocked this person, but there's something about it. Find out what it is that I admire about this person. And this could be the most despicable, in your mind, the most despicable person that's got going, but there's something there that I can look to admire, and then I can say, okay, so maybe these are some skills that I get to own. Guess what? You just gave yourself something really to do, right? And moving in a certain direction that may be aligned with what it is that you got to do it, and say, well, when I do it, the way that I'm going to embody it is going to be something totally different. And guess what? It may speak to somebody else, but more importantly, it's going to speak to you. Nothing feels better than accomplishing something from something, especially if with someone that, however it come up with this one. Oh man, I accomplished it. I'm gonna tell you the way that you'll feel after that. Like you'll be like, man, I could. Okay, what's next? Or I'm satisfied, I'm satisfied with this. Okay, next time it comes up, I'm gonna tell you what happened for me, and I'll leave it at this: is that you really start to cherish the moment, because a lot of those things will never happen again. Like this feeling that you can't, there's times when you look up and you're like, man, I gotta climb this mountain, and it seems daunting, but it'll never be like that again in the same way. So it's almost like the humanity in you is just like, man, I don't know how y'all feel, but I miss them old days, right? Like I miss some of them days, man. And you think about, but Mike, why you miss those days? You was just, you was this kind of way. But I'm like, man, but it's just, I'm never gonna feel like that again, right? Because I've already had it. And then now you may get to look at other people and start to see it in them and say, okay, well, I'm a mentor this person through this part because I love to see how this person gets over it, right? And then the serving just becomes more fulfilling as you start to see, because you're like, I know this person gonna get through it. I'm enjoying their journey because perhaps during my journey, I wasn't present during this moment. All right, brother, what's your thoughts? I know we went an hour and a half. My bad.
Nah, it's all good.
My bad. I got a little passionate, man. But yeah.
That's man. No, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good, man. I think we can close it out on that, because at the end of the day, man, it's not just what we do, right? It's about how we think. It's about how we process things. It's a complete package. It's all together. So I love it, man. I love it. I appreciate what you put in there. I got my notes. I'm taking my notes home.
All right, guys, man. Y'all remember, man, the couple of layers. That doing part is super simple. The being part with the hormones, it's just going to take time. But I named some things. I call it the Instagram lie, but even in that, you could find certain things that you can do that you've been seeing people do. Other than that, we'll see you next week, I suppose.
Until next week.
Yeah, God willing, and the creek don't rise. Peace, y'all.
Peace.
Yo, check the mic, 1, 2, Beacon is the name. Lights up the city, ain't playing no games. Joel Simmons and Michael Seville, the vision is clear. Dropping knowledge, conquering all of your fear. Beacon, Beacon, that's the sound of the future. The main hosts are here, they built the whole structure. Community strong, we rise from the ground. The Beacon power up, yeah. Time to look up.